Now, I'm gonna mention all these rotations depends on big factor. So big, heads up ahead. For all these rotations, it's really crucial, like really crucial to have correct ER. If you don't have correct ER, all this gonna drop into a water. Cause that means you're not gonna get the liberation on time, you're not gonna be able to do the rotations, and then you're gonna waste time getting filled up the liberation of any character. So usually for every DPS character in the game, usually, not all of them, I've kept that in mind, you would need around 120 ER, usually, right, for smooth rotations. There is, some stuff that, like, for example, Jinhsi liberation, its cost is 150. That means that you need at least 140 ER, which is, like, why the fuck for DPS you need 140 ER? Well, I don't know, either Ascuro, right? Then there is, for example, the newest DPS, Augusta. Usually it says here 125, her cost is 125, but usually you want to have 130 ER for smooth rotations. So keep in mind that every single DPS in this game needs to have ER and the support too, right? So Lupa, for example, Lupa can work on 110 ER, but the best ER, is 130. Then you got Zeji, Cantarella, all the other sub DPSs, which you would prefer to have them on 140. Same things applies to Yilin, 140 ER for smooth rotations of the sub DPS. If you don't have that, you always gonna struggle with the rotations, with damage. So keep that in mind. This is a really important factor in every rotation you do in the game. Every single rotation having enough ER. I cannot say how important ER is for the rotations. So yeah, most of the new players actually just they don't bother with ER. They don't bother because they think it's not that important. But the first factor in doing any smooth rotation is having enough ER to get the liberation of the character, right? Weapon is important for every character, especially if it's your main DPS. Like, I would not play main DPS if I don't have its weapon. I mean, I'm going through every DPS, so it's fine. It's fine. For the Xiangli team, so you either wanna use Shorekeeper or Verina. We all know that that Shorekeeper is the best, so I would always recommend the premium team of Shorekeeper, Xiangli and Yilin, right? So anyway, as I was saying, Shorekeeper, Xiangli, or so-called mechanical dildo, and of course our waifu Yilin. Yep. Anyway, let's start. So for Xiangli, I usually use the hyper carry Xiangli. I don't play him in the quicksub team. There is definitely a quicksub method with the Changli. I never use that. So let's start. Usually I love to start with Shorekeeper as usual. You wanna get the half the concerto. So if you pay the attention, you wanna get half the concerto of Shorekeeper, and after that you wanna press her liberation, then you press her E, then you press her Q and switch to Yilin. After you switch to Yilin, I wanna press her Q, I press her E, double E, then I charge attack, then I hold attack and I press liberation to cancel the animation of the hold forte. Then I switch to Xiangli, I press his E skill, and then I press his liberation. And then I just pretty much spam, the E and left mouse. That's basically it, right? I just spam it like there is no tomorrow, right? And when you're done with the rotation, I press another E, I press Q, and I switch to Shorekeeper. And the same, goes. Get the Shorekeeper concerto half full, press liberation, press E, and back to Yilin. After you're Yilin, press E twice, press Q, one charge attack, liberation, and she's ready to swap out. Whoever said that the Yilin is a long field, they clearly did not build a Yilin correctly. As you know, we can see here, she's actually really fast, right guys? You just need to build your characters. That's why I always say, if you build your characters correctly, you don't need to do any extra mechanics in the game, like pick swap or anything else. You're just paying for you being lazy and not building your characters correctly, right? As we can see, the rotations are smooth, but this team kinda sucks, right? We all know that it's not in its prime anymore. Like, and I don't have the premium weapon on my Xiangli, so the damage is not that high. But yeah, it's still okay-ish team if you want to use it for the, let's say, whimpering, I guess. It got big EOE, definitely yielding enough to the attacks. Xiangli got pretty wide EOE, he got time freeze and all that stuff, right? But as you can clearly see, the damage is not here anymore. Anyway, the next team that people usually play is Xiangli and Changli, which I don't know how to play. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how to play. I can try, but I never played it, not really my style. People use the cancel animation between Xiangli and Changli, so I guess it would go something like this, but yeah, not really. I don't really know how good it is, not gonna lie. So I will start the same with Shorekeeper, getting the, half the concerto. Then press Health Liberation, press E and press Q. Then I will switch to Changli, get 2 stacks and switch out to Yao. Get his stuff underway. Changli, back to Yao. And he missed the enemy because he's stupid. And back to Shorekeeper to refresh the rotation. And this is pretty much how I would play fix up between Xiangli and between Changli. So you just wanna cancel it between the attacks, and basically, yeah, GG. And now I would pretty much refresh. Maybe too soon, maybe I could use one more Xiangli attack. You gotta do solo frazzle, what? So, yeah. Ouch, I thought I'm gonna evade that. And this is basically it, right? Probably better team than Yinlin, cause just dual DPS, right? Just better team. But yeah, that is pretty much from Xiangli, I would say. Not really my favorite character, but yeah, it is what it is. The next character we had after Jinhsi was Changli. There is actually like plenty of teams you can play with Changli, since she's very good at canceling animation, right? You can cancel her E skill, you can cancel her forte. First one, as I usually play, is hyper carry Changli. It's pretty simple. You can either play Changli, Shorekeeper or Lupa, Brand Changli Lupa, or Shorekeeper Changli Brand. My personal favorite is Shorekeeper Changli and Lupa, which I'm gonna show. This is my personal favorite team. It's pretty simple. If you have a weapon of Changli, you always wanna start at the 2 stacks before you do the rotation. So 2 stacks on the Forte, switch to Shorekeeper, and basically do the same rotation. Get the half the Concerto. Go to Lupa, press her E skill twice, press her Liberation, press her E, and then just do the Forte, right? Press back to Changli, get her Forte, so do one hold of the Forte, then do Liberation, then do another Forte, then get 2 stacks again out of her, it should be ready, and back to Shorekeeper. As you can see, the rotation is pretty smooth as long as you learn it, right? It's you know, it will take probably like 1 day, and then back to Lupa to get her enchant intro, and again her Liberation, and just repeat the process. Right now my Changli is again on 2 stack Forte, right? Just as I planned. And just repeat the process. So Forte again, Liberation, Forte, get 2 stacks and switch back to, you know, Shorekeeper, right? This is pretty much the whole rotation of Shorekeeper, Changli and Lupa, which is honestly my personal team. Now the other team that you can play with Changli, which is some people call the best, right, is Lupa, Changli and Brand. A lot of people like this team. Me personally, I don't like it. I think Brand is too slow in this rotation, and usually it's me missing out on the enchant intro for Lupa, which I don't like since Brand takes so much on the field. But let me show you. Maybe after the second rotation is better, but on the first rotation it absolutely feels really slow. So you still again wanna start with Changli double stacking her Forte. I mean, if you understand why I double stack Changli before I do the rotation, it's pretty simple. To get Changli resonance skill out of her sword to 100%, you need two stacks, right? So you wanna get 2 stacks on her Forte before you switch to her again to do the damage, because if you don't, it takes too much time for her to get 4 stacks, right? That's the reason I always start with Changli and I do the double stacking, right? So she got double stack, I back switch to Lupa, right? And do the rotation. And after that, I missed the attack. That's not good. She missed her plunging thingy. Switch to Brand, get his Liberation up, and just do the rotation, right? So do the rotation, get his thing, press E, and back to Changli, right? And we are pretty much ready. And just do the same thing as before. And now again, prepare her 2 stacks and switch to Lupa. And she got her special intro, and again repeat the whole process. That's basically how to play hyper carry Changli with her proper fusion team. So the next team that usually people play with Changli is something like Shorekeeper, Changli and Brand. This was before Lupa. This was actually a really good team. So let me show you. It's pretty similar as the rest. You always, when you play hyper carry Changli, you always wanna press the double stacking. And back to Shorekeeper. Get Brand Liberation first. The reason you always wanna use Brand Liberation, cause it speeds up his Forte. He gets his Forte faster, right? That's why you wanna use Brand Liberation at the start of his rotation. And the rest is pretty much same as before. It's always the same with Changli, right? Nothing changed, pretty much. it's always the same thing. But whatever team you play her, if you play Changli hyper carry, it's pretty much the same, right? You always want to prepare her 2 stacks, get her buffs ready, and then just to you know, just take the rotation pretty much. Not that hard to understand, I hope. Pretty simple rotations in my opinion. Nothing too hard to understand. I messed up Changli stacking there. But yeah. And that's pretty much it, right? The time frame usually is 30 seconds between rotations. That is the duration of the shorekeeper liberation. My shorekeeper is S2, so that means I got additional 10 seconds to her liberation. That's 40 seconds. But usually people have shorekeeper on S0. That means it's usually 30 seconds of the time frame you wanna, you know, do your rotation, right? And that's pretty much it, I would say. There is few teams for Changli. Now, you can always play Changli with, you know, other DPSs, since she can pretty much cancel animation a lot. Then she got 3 burst. One is Forte, then you do Liberation and another Forte. That's Changli 3 burst. So you can always do that in other DPS's team. If you like to play like this. Me personally, I prefer Changli as a hyper carry. But anyway, let's go to the Jinhsi for now. So, Verina, Jinhsi, and let's start with Zheji, I guess. This is one team people usually use with Jinhsi as a hyper carry Jinhsi. So, again, you wanna start with Verina, right? Then Zheji, Liberation, fill up her Forte, right? Fill up the Forte, press E, hold, charge attack, and then just press E 3 times and swap out. Press Jinhsi Q, then E, then another E, then her Liberation, and then you're gonna miss the one enemy, and then you're gonna puke on this one. And there is the damage, and then switch again back to Verina. And just repeat the process, right? Liberation, get Forte, press E, hold a charge attack, then press E 3 times, and switch to Jinhsi again, press E and Q, and just keep attacking. As you can see, the coordinate attack are absolutely full, so the damage keeps going up and up, right? The rotations is so fast, even Verina is on cooldown. That's cause his ER is on point on this account. That's the reason. Okay, I'm gonna try kill this enemy with Liberation now and keep smacking it, but it seems that I need to hold it. As you can see, I don't know why the damage is this mob Spectro resistance. I actually don't remember this mob if it's Spectro resistant. That was not big damage. And I fucked up here, but it's fine. Gonna recover. And this is pretty much hyper Jinhsi, right? Not much to it. Pretty good team. Oh, I fucked up. I press E. I don't know why. Don't ask me. But yeah, this is pretty much with Zheji. Pretty simple. Probably putting Shorekeeper here would be better. Not gonna lie, since the coordinated attack from Zheji should fill up Jinhsi full. But this is wave clearing with Zheji, this is not boss clearing, so we know how wave clearing with Zheji goes. And the other team I can show with Jinhsi is Verina, Jinhsi and Cantarella. This is still other team that actually okay. As I said, you can swap Shorekeeper here. I think it should fill up. So Shorekeeper, Jinhsi, Cantarella, and this. So this is one team that you can use. Sure, I will do I will do the double intro Jinhsi, but people usually don't do double intro Jinhsi. Basically means this: you just start with Jinhsi here right away. You don't care about filling her forte, right? And now you switch back to Cantarella, and you do her rotation. Oh, that's a nice leg in the air. I just saw it. And then Jinhsi again. And this is the double intro Jinhsi, right? Because the damage is still here, but you do the double puking, right? And then you go back to Shorekeeper. And you just repeat the process. Right? You get Shorekeeper, Liberation, and back to Jinhsi, and she's ready to puke again, right? That's the good thing about Jinhsi. She's very versatile. And go back to Cantarella. And just do Cantarella. Rotation. And back to Jinhsi. And she's full, right? As you can see, she's full. So the same thing could be applied with Zheji. Technically, no Verina. Technically, don't need Verina. Nope. If you got Cantarella or Zheji, you don't need Verina. Because the Cantarella and Zheji gonna just fill up the full forte when you fight with them. But yeah, basically, this is how you play double intro Jinhsi. Pretty simple, right? There is not much to it. You just wanna do her double puking, so you don't waste damage and you don't waste time. I prefer this rotation over hyper carry Jinhsi rotation. I don't think I need to show Tauchi and Lumi here, because pretty much you always wanna be using Cantarella or Zheji with Jinhsi, so I can move on. That's basically Jinhsi. She's very versatile, I would say. If you wanna, you can swap her in other teams too. If you don't care about maxing up her forte for the maximum damage, you can play her as a dual DPS too. It's not gonna be to the best results, but she will be useful. Next DPS we had was Camellya. Usually I prefer playing Camellya with Shorekeeper, Camellya and Sanhua, right? I will be showing Rosia and I will be showing Sanhua. So to play Sanhua is pretty much like this. Where is my Sanhua? So this is the team. You can use Verina here too if you want, but I still think Shorekeeper is better. So the rotations that I usually like to do is buffing her enchant state of Camellya. That means not immediately switching to sub DPS Sanhua to buff Camellya. I like to do. Let me just show you. I guess I can. Actually, I'm gonna show the rotation that people usually use. Then I'm gonna show the rotation that I learned with the help of other Camellya mains. So what people usually like to do with Camellya is basically this, right? They get Shorekeeper, then they press Liberation here, get to Sanhua, and when they get to Sanhua, they immediately switch to Camellya and they start doing the rotation, right? This is how people usually play. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Not much to it. Boom. It's still good, not gonna lie. If your Camellya is built, this is pretty good. There is nothing wrong with this rotation, absolutely nothing wrong, right? And this is the rotation people usually use, right? Now the rotation that I learned to use, cause it's fine. I just prefer this rotation now. is something like this. You wanna start with a Shorekeeper, you get the full forte, then you hold charge attack, switch back to Sanghua, and when you do this, you switch back to Shorekeeper. So if you saw what I did, I prepared Sanghua, now Sanghua is on the full outro. I go back to Camellya, and now I'm going to try to fill a Camellya concerto, but I'm not gonna fill it completely. I'm gonna watch out on the concerto, switch back to Sanghua, and then to Camellya, and then press her in special case, and now the damage is buffed, right? This is my rotation, how I like to do it. The results is pretty much same shit. It's pretty much same shit. This rotation actually works better if your Camellya is on S2, but the result is pretty much the same shit. Now, if you wanna look like you know what you're doing, you wanna use this rotation, right? If you don't wanna know what you're doing, you pretty much use the basic rotations, nothing wrong with it. But if you know wanna be like, oh look how I can play my Camellya, you wanna use the rotation that I learned from the Camellya mains, but the end result is the same. It's just, you know, how you wanna be perceived. The same things applies to the Rosia. So Shorekeeper, Camellya, and Rosia, right? But yeah, I'm gonna show my rotation again with the Rosia. So you wanna start again with the Shorekeeper. You get her full forte, then hold it, switch back to the Rosia, and pretty much do this shit. And prepare, you know, prepare Rosia for Unga Bunga, back to her and do the rotation. And now just keep swinging and keep an eye out on her concerto energy. Make sure you don't go overboard. So right about you're about to hit the full one, you wanna switch back to Rosia and do her combination, and back to Camellya and do her big thingy, right? And that's about it. Now if they're both close to each other, they would both die, so the damage would be higher here, right? With the combination of Rosia. And now I fuck up the rotation because I was not being careful, but yeah, now I can do, you know, the proper rotation, which is hyper carrying, again without any, you know, special quick swapping in between, and the results should be the same pretty much. Damage is same, buff duration is longer. Yes, basically. You wanna use my rotation, people that teach me the rotation. If you want to, if you want to get, if you want to use a full buff of the Sanghua and Rosia on her enchant state, because Camellya got two states, right? One is enchant, one is not enchant, basic hitting, right? So pretty much, if you want the full buffs, what is the difference between white and red hair? Not the same, I mean, not much difference. People usually say that you wanna use a white hair if you're fighting a boss, and you wanna use a red hair fighting the mobs, but in my opinion, I think it's the same stuff. There is not real meaningful difference. I think white hair is more single target, red hair is more mob target. I don't think there is any other team with Camellya. Pretty much Rosia or Sanghua is the best way to go. Some people try to mix in, you know, for Loba, Rosia and Camellya, but I don't think that's worth it. So this team will be Shorekeeper, Spectro, Rover and Xiangli. You and Xiangli. So let's get started, I guess. So hyper carry Spectro Rover. Rotation always stays the same as before. Not much gonna change here.
行くぞ。聞いてみよう。好きだらけだ。この光で。一気に行くぞ。
Well, let's see. I've seen worse damage than this. I don't know. But this is versus mobs, not versus boss. I can do one versus boss too, I guess, so we can actually see. I think this one is Spectro resistant. Really? His leg. We didn't get the shield. Chisla. Okay. Back to Chisla. I mean, this should actually clear it, right? This should actually clear it. I thought this won't clear it, but this, I think it will clear it, not gonna lie. Well, we are in trouble. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Let's see. Well, I did not expect this, but this will actually clear it. And 3 seconds to spare. Spectro or Rover good. See? S0. S0 Shorekeeper, S0 Chisalina, and main DPS Rover. I was not expecting this, but this actually cleared.